It's plague time, baby! Hi, I'm Jillian from I'll Eat Your History, where I watch historical food videos, tasting history currently, and then I try to make the food and I react to the recipe and my own feelings at trying to make the recipe. So today we're going to be doing candied horseradish. So we'll see how that goes. This is all about the plague. This was a plague cure. We're going back in time on the Tasting History channel. Good old Max is in the beginning of the thick of 2020 COVID. It's like March. And he was just like, we need some help here because we don't know what we're doing with this plague. We're washing our groceries. We're wearing masks made out of underwear. We're doing whatever we can to survive. So why not look and see what the Middle Ages did when they had the bubonic plague? Because that was fun times. I cannot tell you how excited I am to hang out with Max again because I feel like every time I watch one of these videos, I'm hanging out with my good friend Max. He doesn't know me. I'm just some weirdo who watches his videos and then tries to cook his food and talks to him while I cook it. But Max, maybe someday you and I will have some butterbeer together that isn't chewy. Yeah, shout out to the butterbeer episode. Okay, well, let's get started, shall we? Max, what are you up to today?
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Tasting History. On the last episode, we talked about the Black Death and how medieval doctors prescribed certain foods that could help balance the humors to make you well again. They didn't work, but at least they weren't grotesque, disgusting, or just plain odd. But today we're going to discuss 10 of the most grotesque, disgusting, and just plain odd remedies for the Black Plague. We're also going to make what I think is one of the weirder sounding remedies that's still edible. Candied horseradish.
Okay.
I'm just curious to see what it tastes like. So let's find out.
I'm appreciating that you're
today
choosing something that's
Tasting
edible.
History.
Personally, since I'm going to put it in my mouth, I want to be able to eat it. Okay.
Doctors need 3 qualifications: to be able to lie and not get caught, to pretend to be honest, and to cause death without guilt. Jean Froissart.
What?
I'd like to think...
Wait, what? This was the standard of the day? Because we already had the Hippocratic Oath, do no harm, and he's like, you can kill people without feeling guilty about it. Like, well, no wonder there was a bubonic plague. What? Okay, well, that's just put me in down votes for the medical industry of the time. This doesn't bode well for horseradish cure. Okay, Max, let's see what's else going on with these wild doctors.
Today, doctors are held in a bit higher esteem than that, but in the 14th century, Jean Froissart had the right of it. Frankly, then, doctors didn't know squat about medicine, let alone curing the plague, bubonic or otherwise. One cure, depending on your mood, was horseradish, and that's why we're going to make a 15th century Spanish recipe for candied horseradish. First, take a small saucepan of water, add some salt, and set it to boiling. Then take about 80 to 90 grams of washed horseradish. Try saying that 3 times fast. Washed horseradish, washed horseradish, and scrape until it's clean and white.
I don't want to do that.
Then slice it into strips about 2 inches long and about 1/8 of an inch thick.
Okay, we're making little French fries.
Once the water is boiling, toss the horseradish in and boil for 30 to 45 minutes. You want it to get almost as soft as it can get, but make sure you keep an eye on the water because it can all boil away and then you'll just burn the horseradish. Once it's done...
What am I gonna do? It's like, Max, here's the thing. My little Max from 5 years ago, you're like, Jillian, I know you're watching this episode, and I know what you're gonna do wrong. So let me just tell you what you're gonna do wrong. You're gonna react to it, and then you're gonna completely forget what I say, and you're gonna do it anyway. Okay, all right, well, fingers crossed. I don't burn off all the water and burn my house down.
Drain the water and put the horseradish into a bowl with cold water. Now you can leave the horseradish overnight, maybe change the water a couple times, or you can do like the original recipe says and leave it for 9 days, changing the water every day. The point is just to get all of the salt and the really horseradishy flavor drawn out into the water. Either way you do it, you should have plenty of time to hit that like button and learn about some of the remedies that make horseradish look downright genius.
Time for history! And while you're hitting his like button, go ahead and hit mine too. Let's just have likes for everybody. History time! History time.
One, herbs. Now, herbs can be medicinal, but not really against the bubonic plague. And they definitely didn't think they were medicinal for the same reason we think herbs are medicinal today. It just had to do with how they smelled. See, one of the theories of what caused the Black Plague back then was a conjunction of 3 planets a few years earlier that caused...
I was so convinced I knew what he was going to say. I was already agreeing with him. I was like, yes, stagnant air. And then he's like, no, there was some astrological stuff happening. Astrological stuff caused the bubonic plague. Well, maybe if you're into astrology, maybe it caused a miasma. Why don't you go back, you astrologists out there, and let me know, did planets cause the bubonic plague? Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, or the horseradish out with the horseradish water, as it were.
A miasma to spread across Europe. A miasma is like a cloud of noxious gas that you can't see and it causes disease.
Noxious gas.
It's not a real thing. But people were really afraid of it. And one way to keep it at bay was to surround yourself with fresh-smelling herbs. You could take some herbs and hold them up to your nose as you walked around the flea-ridden towns of medieval Europe, and you'd be safe. This theory was...
But also, things smelled bad because nobody showered. Nobody bathed. They only bathed like once a year because they thought bathing was like bad for you. So I think probably there was a multi-purpose for these little herb bundles. Multi-purpose, not complaining about that.
It was even kicking around in the 17th century when the infamous plague doctors came about. Those were the guys with the long beak nose, and they packed them full of herbs.
We know about that.
Now, I would take herbs any day over the second remedy to save yourself from the miasma, which was to live in a sewer.
No!
Even miasma didn't really...
No! What? 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 I can't. Even my cat can't. I can't. I cannot. They lived in a sewer. Yeah, my cat is upset about it. I don't know if you can hear him meowing. He's upset about it. I'm upset about it. Why are you living in a sewer? Exactly, Kylo. Why are you living in a sewer? Why are you living in a sewer? To save yourself from the bubonic plague. That's just going to make it worse. Who thought that was a good idea? Who thought that was a good idea? I'm really upset right now. I have to be honest, I'm really upset right now. I need to calm down. Okay. It's going to keep on going.
You want to hang around human excrement all day.
No.
Yeah. Now, if your plague got real bad, you'd have to go straight to the source. So
what? What? Wait, what? 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 Hang on. He went past that little image a little too quick. We got to do a rewind. Hang on here. Hang on. You hang on. Look, you can see from the little, I'm not the only one who had a rewind on that image. Because that's a little bubble right there. Okay.
Go straight to the source.
What is happening here? What is happening here? What is happening here? I can't right now. It's too much. This is too much for me. I don't even know if I'm going to make it to the horseradish. What? I don't know if it's like, it could be that like she's peeing and pooping at the same time into little vases or jugs. Possible. Also possible, it could be that this is like a Middle Ages douche. Not douche. Middle Ages, what is it when they do the water in your tushy in the toilet? Why can't I think of the word? It's because this has broken me. This episode has broken me that I can't think of the term for, I want to say douche, but it's not a douche. It's a bidet. A bidet. This is like a medieval bidet or something. I'm taking way too long on this image, but it hurts me. I just can stop the episode right now. I'm done. This is enough. Okay, we got to keep moving forward. Okay, Max, what else have you got for me here? You've already put me through it.
So number 3 is when a doctor would cut open your buboes,
no!
and pack it full of moss and weeds and
no!
Oh.
No!
And it
Oh, he's
couldn't
back
be
at
your
that
own
image
either.
again.
Then he would bind it up
No!
and send you on your merry way.
No! 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 You took somebody else's poop and made a paste? People did that? Some of us descended from these people who put poop paste on themselves. Other people's poop paste. I can't with this episode. I really can't. I just thought this was going to be horseradish candy. Okay, cool. Seems like it's going to be easy enough. 1 and 2 ingredients. It'll be fine. Then all of this is happening. And all of this is happening. I'm really worked up. I am really worked up. Okay, we're not even halfway through the episode. I'm going to break. Okay.
Way, making you feel almost glad that you were about to die.
Yes.
Number
yes,
4,
I would be glad.
The flagellants.
I
Now,
can't.
while people thought that it was the conjunction of 3 planets that caused the plague, it was God that made that conjunction happen.
Okay.
Clearly, he was mad.
Yes.
Obviously, the best way to get right with God back then was to go around from town to town half naked.
Wait, hang on. Also, what's happening here? I mean, I can't dig into this forever because Lord knows I took too long on the last one. But like, look at these little hats. These little alien people. These are aliens. Clearly, these are aliens that have come down and have a little handheld Jesus. Okay, we got to go back to the flagellants. Okay.
Whipping yourself. And that's exactly what the flagellants did. They believed that the more they punished themselves, the less God would feel the need to do it for them. Pope Clement
I get that more than putting poop on yourself.
In 1349, but every time the plague popped up over the next 300 years, those crazy flagellants weren't far behind. 5. Eating emeralds. Now, if you were real fancy, you could take a handful of emeralds, crush them up into a powder, put them in some water, and have a drink. We don't really know why they thought this would work, but back in the Middle Ages, precious gems had all sorts of magical properties attributed to them, so who knows? Either way, it probably felt like you were drinking shards of glass.
Yeah,
but that's how you know it's working.
And then maybe what happens is that you eat the emerald, you poop it out, and then you make the poop paste from the emerald poop. Like, let's just bring it all together. Like, why stop at one remedy when you can blend them? Just blend them up. Okay. All right, Max. You're looking at me like I need to shut my mouth and move on. Okay, let's move on, Max.
6. Treacle. Now, if you can't afford emeralds, and who can, you could always try some treacle. Bad news is it needs to be 10 years old and putrid.
No!
The horrific-smelling black goop was thought to be so repugnant that the plague would just up and leave your body for good. Now, while we'll never have...
Did they just hate everybody? Is that what was going on in the Middle Ages? They just hated everybody. And they're like, they just hated they just hated everybody.
Have any proof that it actually worked, there are some scientists today who think that after 10 years, disease-fighting molds could have grown on the black treacle. So, you know, maybe this is the one to go with. You know, sometimes when I'm not feeling well, I like to take a warm bath. So number 7 is a warm bath.
I did that today.
Of urine.
No, I did not do that today! I did not do that today! I took a warm bath, but not in urine. Max, what are you doing to me? Max, what are you doing to me with these? This is too much for me. In urine. With their poop, and their urine, and their emerald poop. Maybe they drank some almond milk to help that urine flow, because we know that almond milk from a previous episode helped make you more urine.
Medieval doctors would prescribe you to take a bath of urine and sometimes a glass to swig down while you're...
No! No! Stop it, Max! You can't do this to me! You can't do this to me. Oh, God. Well, oh, God. I will say, thank you for not recreating any of that. Thank you for not making me put urine in my mouth.
can't be your own. It needs to have come from someone who was
No!
No thanks, I'll just die. 8. The
I
Vickery
see.
method.
I'll be with you.
Sounds very
Okay.
official, right?
Okay,
Doctor shows
yes.
up, says, I'm here to perform the Vickery method on you. Of course you're going to say yes. Until you see that the doctor is plucking the rear end of a chicken and strapping its bare butt to your armpits and groin to draw out the sickness. Those poor chickens. Now, frankly, the lunacy of the Vickery method makes number 9 look kind of sane. And that's when, on the advice of doctors, Pope Clement VI spent all summer sitting between 2 huge roaring fires so the bad juju couldn't get near him.
Well, that one I could handle a little bit more because like saunas. I can get that. Okay, saunas. Oh dear Lord, Max, what are you doing to me? What are you doing to me?
Now, it actually worked, but it wasn't because the fire had any kind of special properties, which they thought it did. It was because the fleas couldn't get anywhere near him because it was so frickin' hot. And that takes us to number 10, just keeping away from the frickin' fleas.
Quarantine,
when it was first suggested that social distancing or quarantine worked, people thought it was nuts. God and miasma can get to you anywhere, so what does it matter?
People still think it's nuts, as it turns out. I guess this is fire time and he's in a little pill. Fire pill. He's in a fire pill, that's fine.
Matter if you hold yourself up in a country house away from all people. But even though people thought it was crazy back then, we know now that social distancing and quarantine is the most effective way to keep disease at bay.
Oh, that was Max doing a little PSA for the COVID. He was doing a PSA. Good job, Max. Okay.
During the first outbreak of the plague in the 1340s, Boccaccio's The Decameron is about a group of friends who isolate themselves in a villa until the plague passes. Again, during the first outbreak, people thought it was crazy. But as outbreaks kept coming and going over the next 300 years and people kept surviving, the practice became pretty popular. During an outbreak in 1606, Shakespeare locked himself away and wrote Macbeth and King Lear.
And
then in 1660...
Well, and you don't know this, Max, from the past, but that was one of the benefits of COVID, is that it gave people a lot of time to pursue their creative pursuits, like a tasting history channel. It's your own little Macbeth.
65, during the very last outbreak in England, Isaac Newton, at the age of 22, locked himself away and came up with the basis of early calculus and the theory of gravity. But I'm spending my quarantine making candied horseradish. So, take that, Sir Isaac Newton.
Well, it worked out for you.
Speaking
it worked out for you. Don't make that face.
We're all locked away.
Was good.
I would love some recommendations on what you'd like to see in future episodes. Different foods you'd like to see me make, or different eras, or even different cultures. Leave me a comment and let me know what you want. But for now, let's go finish our candied horseradish. So after 9 days or 1 day, whichever, it's time to make your syrup. You can either take a cup of honey or make syrup with a half cup of sugar and a quarter cup of water. Both are mentioned in the recipe, so it's up to you. Whichever you choose, put it into a small saucepan and heat it over medium heat until boiling. Then add the horseradish and turn the heat to low, allowing to simmer for about 10 minutes, stirring regularly. You'll know when it's done because the syrup will make soft threads when you lift the horseradish from the liquid. Once you're there, remove the pot from the heat
so I can
and
make
place
sure I don't
each piece
screw
of
this
horseradish on a wire rack to dry. And you're ready to go. So here we are.
Delightful.
Candied horseradish.
I'm ready. Okay, let's see how he thinks.
Let's try it.
Let's try it.
Crunchy.
It's crunchy. Jinx.
It's actually really good. You can taste the horseradish, but it has no spice at all. Just sweetness and the flavor of horseradish.
Okay.
Good job. Good job, medieval people.
Good job.
Delicious.
It's better than poop.
Now, the recipe I used today is in the description below, along with links to some of my favorite books on the Black Death. So if you got time over the next few weeks, and I know you do, they're definitely worth checking out. Again, I'd love recommendations on what you'd like to see in upcoming episodes, so if you have anything, leave me a comment, and I will see you next time on Tasting History.
Okay, and actually it's funny that he said that. This is the first episode that he's asked for recommendations. And as it just turns out, I had somebody suggest I try his 80s cafeteria style school pizza. Cafeteria school pizza from the 80s? Something like that. So that's what I'm going to do after this one. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. So things are going to get a little out of order is all I'm saying. Okay, so now we're going to get up to some horseradish. I'm going to leave all the poop and the pee out of this. Thank you. So you can stick around and see how I made it. If I failed it, what I thought of it, if the recipe works, and my notes on the recipe. Because if you're going to try some candied horseradish, which could be delightful, I'm going to let you know. You're going to get the real deal from old Jillian here. Okay, let's go and find out what happens. Okay, so now it's time to make our horseradish, and I've already screwed up. So the recipe called for 90 grams of horseradish. So while I was at the grocery store, which I was delighted to find they had a horseradish, I don't know if that was going to be a thing. The weight there only had it in ounces. So I got out my little phone. I did a little calculation and I was like, I need 3 ounces of horseradish. And this amount was only 1 ounce. And I was like, no, I'm not making a boatload of candied horseradish. I'll just cut the recipe in third. That's fine. I can do math, right? Well, apparently not. Because this isn't 90 grams of horseradish. This is like 430 grams of horseradish. So it's not that I need to cut the recipe by a third. I need to quadruple it. Quadruple it 4 times. I'm going to have so much horseradish. Luckily, my father loves horseradish. My friend Stacy's going to be in town. Shout out, Stacy. She's going to get a boatload of horseradish. And she's excited about it because she likes horseradish. So I hope she likes this. All right, so we're going to get started with our massive amounts of horseradish. And we're going to scrape it. All right, I'm supposed to scrape this. I didn't know if I should maybe get a peeler. But I'm like, Max, you said to scrape it? I'm going to listen to you, Max. You're my guy. Even though you dug out some really nasty information about the plague. I still love you. Okay, apparently I'm supposed to scrape it. You can smell it. Woo! Woo! It's starting to make my eyes water. Max, you did not warn me what this is going to do to my eyes. This horseradish scraping. Well, give me a heads up next time, Max. Okay, give me a heads up. That's all I ask. My eyes are stinging from this horseradish. I'm done. So I've scraped it. Maybe not perfectly. Oh my gosh. My mascara is going to run everywhere. Max, what are you doing to me? Thank you. I mean, I'd rather this than poop. I mean, I guess that's something, right? They were like, this is going to make your eyes hurt, but that's okay because so's the poop and the urine bath you're about to take. So don't worry about the horseradish. This is the least of your problems. Okay? After a little cleanup, we're going to cut these bad boys up. Whew. Whew, 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 whew. Still getting to me. I finished it. I finished cutting up all the pieces. It's a lot. Woo! Horseradish. All right, now we got to boil it. God willing, I don't forget what Max warned me. That I need to make sure that the water doesn't run out. So I loaded it up. I loaded it up with water, which also makes me worry that I loaded it too much up with water and it's going to boil everywhere. So yes, just as I suspected, the loading it up to the edge is creating quite this little splatter experience everywhere. But you know what? We're just going to go with it. And it's fine. We're fine. So got the horseradish. I'm going to drain this and then I'm going to pop it in some cold water. Okay, so the next piece is these little puppies. They're gonna chill out. They're gonna have their own little bath, not in urine. No, no urine involved, but they're gonna hang out in some cold water. So we're gonna come back tomorrow and finish this up and candy this up and see what gets put in my mouth. Okay, so this is day 2. I've been soaking my little horseradish. There it is, the little horseradish. So now we're going to brew it up on the stove. Because I have so much, I'm going to do it into 2 different pots. So one pot I'm going to make with honey, and then the other pot I'm going to make with the sugar water mixture. Since he said we could use both, let's try it out. So we'll see what brews up. So it's time to boil up the sugar and the honey. We have a full cup of honey. It is a lot of honey. It's heavy. It's heavy. It's heavy honey. Okay, in goes the honey. Okay, and then the sugar. Sugar and water. Whoop! Did that a little wrong. Uh-oh. 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 Well, what am I doing wrong now? I turned the heat on first to get the pot warmed up. Oh no. Oh no. It's all happening. Oh no. Oh, what am I doing? Oh, the honey's boiling. What's happening? I was like getting the pot warm and I just didn't think it was going to get that warm. And now it's like it's crystallizing or something. This does not bode well. It's already brown, like caramelized. I don't know if I'm doing it at the right temperature. It just said bring it to boil, and you know me, I like to boil things hot, and he boils things at medium. And the honey is boiling. Okay, a lot of things are happening. Oh my god, a lot of things are happening. Okay, the honey's happening. I'm putting it in. I'm putting it in. I don't know if I put too much in. Oh, well, that's what's in there. I was like, this is going to be such a simple recipe. Simple recipe. I am a hot mess. I'm a hot mess. Well, I'm going to see what happens with the sugar water. I think it's going to be very bad. It's very watery. Well, it's boiling. It's boiling. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for it. Putting the last of this in there. So now I'm supposed to boil it for 10 minutes until it creates thin threads. I am not confident with the sugar water. I'm not confident with the sugar water. Oh my goodness. I mean, I really don't know what's happening here. I'm not confident. I am not confident. Okay, here's the little prayer I'm going to put out. Pray with me here for this plague cure. I think this is going to be a problem at the end. I'm going forward. I'm just going forward. And I'm hoping that this actually works out. And my little panic moment was no big deal. In which case, if this happens and it works out, like what a confidence booster for all of us. For all of us that like panic can happen and it turns out fine, right? It can turn out fine. Or it can be a hot mess. I feel like there's not enough sugar in the sugar water. Not like there's not enough sugar in the sugar water because Max had the recipe wrong. No, Max. I know, my precious Max, you're fine. I'm the hot mess here. I worry that maybe I didn't keep track of my water when I was doubling up the recipe. That's why I think I might have a little too much water. I will tell you, I feel like I'm making French fries. And I think I cut the horseradish too big and too thick. Oh well. Okay, I rewatched the video. So, Max, you have failed me. Because the recipe, which is what I go by because my memory is not great, the video you say boil it on medium, and then turn it down to low. The recipe just says boil. It doesn't say to turn it down to low. So I've been cooking it too hot. I guess. He's a medium boiler person. I'm like a high boiler person. I found this out in other recipes. I put it to high if I want it to boil. He puts it to medium. I need to learn Mac's language here. So it's on too hot. It's too hot. So I turned it down, and we're going to see what happens. It's been 10 minutes. And at this point, it should be about ready. That when I pull it out, little strings should come off of it. But that's not happening. Now, it could be not happening because I was heating this mother up. And it's just too hot. And it's going to take a little bit more time for it to like settle down. So I'm going to try to be patient. Because part of me just wants to be like, okay, it's done. Time's up. I'll just take it off and put it on a rack and we'll see what happens. But I want to commit to this idea that little strings are going to come off of it, because that was even in the old English recipe I saw when I read that. So, oh, Max, you and I were on a journey. I'm learning your languages. When you say boil, you mean medium. I think hot. We've been on this journey since the butterbeer. Okay, okay, okay. Maybe part of the problem is I have too much horseradish per the amount of liquid. It seems like it would be okay in the honey, but maybe I'm just supposed to have a lot more than what's in there. There's so many things that could have gone wrong here. I will say, Max, I rewatched her video. I saw you pull the horseradish out of your syrup sauce. I did not see any threads. I wonder if you are having the same problem I had and you just went with it. It's been almost 20 minutes now, and it was only supposed to be 10. So you know what? Here's what's going to happen. 20 minutes. Once 20 minutes, I'm done. I've doubled the time. I've had it on though long enough. 20 minutes it's coming out. And we're going to just deal with the repercussions. Well, at least nothing has to be put through a sieve. That's a shout out to almost every other episode I've done. It feels like almost everything I've done, I've had to put through a sieve. Particular shout out to the Lent dessert episode. Time's up! 20 minutes have passed now. There are no little threads. There are no threads, Max. I feel so misguided in this really simple recipe that has 2 ingredients. There's 2 ingredients. How can I screw up 2 ingredients when it's cut things up and boil them? All right, well, it is what it is, and we're going to see if it's delicious. And at least one thing I did think about the rack. I did at least think to put a sheet pan underneath it, which he didn't mention. But know that when you put things on a metal rack, not a medical rack, a metal rack, it's going to ooze and it's going to create a mess. So I am grateful in this moment that at least I know that. At least I know that. Now you know it too. Also, my floor is now sticky. So that's great. Put this non-stringy but very dark colored honeyed horseradish. Okay, so here is the sugar water one. I'm gonna taste it. It isn't hardened yet. I'm not patient. You know that. You know that. It's cool. So I'm gonna eat it. I'm a little afraid. I'm a little afraid. Horseradish is a lot, and I didn't soak it for 9 days. And I don't trust Max for this recipe because he left out some things. He seemed to think it was a pleasant, but I don't know if he's lying to me. Are you lying to me, Max? This is me stalling. Very honey. There's zero horseradish flavor. Zero. It's basically just fibrous honey. It's a honey stick, which is fine. I mean, you're getting some fiber, but there's no horseradish sauce. There's no horseradish sauce. I meant there's no horseradish flavor. It's delicious. It's honey. If you like honey, you're going to love it. You'll love it, but you could also just eat honey. I'm going to go for this one. That little chunk of monk. That little chunk of monk. Oh, that one you get a little bit more horseradish flavor. No. It's a little bit of horseradish flavor, so it isn't overpowering, but it's confusing in my mouth because it's sweet, but horseradish, mildly horseradishy. Okay. Okay. I made that. I put it in my mouth. Now I am going to be cured from the plague. I much prefer the honey one, to be clear. Much prefer the honey one. Also, the sugar may have gotten burnt from my little drama at the beginning, so that also could be why. I'm going to try a large one of the honey one. Just give one more shot. It's very honey flavored. Mildly horseradish. You can barely taste the horseradish. And it's got a little bit of zing in your mouth. If you're going to do this, do it with honey. It's a lot of honey, and I would say do it thicker so that if you want some flavor of horseradish, like you need to get a bigger piece of horseradish because it's going to get drained out from all that water leaching. And maybe don't do it as long. Maybe only do it for 6 to 8 hours like Max suggested and not a day like I did. I'm never going to make this again. But the world did not explode. So there you go. And you know what? It wasn't poop. How about that? That's a win. It wasn't poop. It wasn't a bath of urine. I didn't have to live in a sewer. I will take this, no problem. Hope Stacy likes horseradish because she's going to get all this. Next up, I think I'm going to make the cafeteria school pizza from the 80s. And I'm going to go back to my childhood. So we're going to get nostalgic next week. And I'm going to go forward into the future because this is a recipe from only like 4 months ago. I feel like I'm cheating on Max from the past by doing this future one. So check out that one. But if I haven't filmed it yet, or even if I have, you could go back and watch this episode. This was Apple Muse. I decided to call it Plague Sauce. Check out my Plague Sauce and see why I thought Plague Sauce was a more appropriate name for that little bowl of whatever you want to call it. I want to call it Plague Sauce. Okay, well, that's Jillian from I'll Eat Your History. Until next time.